Hi folks, the Filipina P here. And every once in a while, I need to go over something that might seem obvious at this point. But some of you are still making the same mistakes. So today, I'm going to try to explain it a different way. So you want to find a Filipina, a real partner to go through life with. But time after time, you end up shooting yourself in the foot. At first, things seem to be going fine. But all of a sudden, she's gone. And a lot of the time, I bet I know why. So I considered making this like a mailbag video, but I'm getting so many of the same kind of requests for help from people in the same exact position that I decided to put them all together and deal with the subject as a whole. Now, if your goal is just to get a woman from here to the bedroom by the shortest, most direct method, then ignore this advice and play your cards however you want. But if you're really looking for a woman to settle down with, some of you guys are going about it the wrong way, and you're contacting me after you painted yourself into a corner. The situation I'm talking about usually goes something like this. You met a Filipina, either online or in person, and you started chatting. You really seem to like each other and you don't see any red flags. Before long, it feels as though she's a big part of your life and hopefully a part of your future. You talk every day, multiple times a day. You talk about marriage and you bare your soul to each other, or at least that's what you thought. Because just as suddenly as it began, her communications start to trail off. She doesn't call you every couple hours like she used to, and when you talk, it feels like she's just going through the motions, and there's somewhere else she'd rather be. She doesn't cut you off completely, but the only time you hear from her is when she needs something. You suspect there's someone else, but why is she still hanging around? You don't deserve this. You've always been a really nice guy. So why is she rejecting your love? And what can you do about it? Now, I probably get about 10 emails a week just like that. And for those of you that have written me, you know what I always ask next. I ask you to give me the details, how you met, who approached whom, and what kind of plans you made. And probably the most important question of all, were you sending her money? Almost 100% of the time, you finally admit that you were indeed supporting her in some way, often in a big way. You know you shouldn't have done that, but there's always an excuse as to why. You wanted to help her start a business to get her family on its feet. You paid her tuition so she could graduate and get a better job. You gave her funds for the annulment so you could be together. Or you just wanted to show her that you cared because you could easily afford it. But it seems like all the help didn't mean a thing. Well, I hate to say it, but she's put you on the list of friends with financial benefits, and you'll never get off it. You can tell she no longer feels the passion or the need to hear your voice, and she stops asking if you're eating properly. She tries to fake it as long as she's getting the benefits, but you can tell the fire's out and the magic is gone. You need to disentangle yourself, hit the block button, and start over with a new mindset. She's not coming back, and you don't want her to. Now, many of you don't understand how you actually sabotaged your relationship, and that's what I'm gonna explain. So, how did you get into that situation? Well, I'm not saying this is necessarily true in your case, but a lot of the time, it starts with loneliness. After all, that's what most of us are looking for, right? Companionship. And I get it. That's probably one of the main reasons for my channel, because people all over the world are so freaking lonely and they dream of another shot at happiness. The problem is, if you're love starved, you tend to rush things, and as soon as you come across a woman you think is suitable, you put your foot on the gas and start playing your cards in the wrong order. I've actually gotten emails from guys who tell me they're getting married to a woman they've never met after just talking to him for a few months. I kid you not. So what am I supposed to say? Congratulations? I know that's what they expect me to say, but I just can't. And then when I express my doubts, suddenly I'm the bad guy. It feels like a nightmare where I'm watching somebody about to get hit by a bus in slow motion, and I can't do anything to stop it. I try to warn them, but nobody ever listens. And that's what you get when you mix infatuation with a big old dose of loneliness. Unfortunately, loneliness smells like desperation, and a woman can smell desperation like a shark can smell a drop of blood from a quarter mile away. The shark is only attracted to the blood so it can feed, and once it's done, it moves on. It's not even a conscious process. A woman just knows when she no longer finds a man desirable, and nothing turns a woman off faster than desperation. Now, I'm not saying there was any evil intent when she started chatting, but the more you get to know someone, the more you can smell the blood in the water, and the faster you push things, the more obvious it becomes. A woman instinctively wants to look at you and see a little bit of bad boy. Not because you're covered in tattoos and riding a motorcycle while flipping off the cops, but because the bad boy doesn't give her what she wants right away. He doesn't put her on a pedestal and commit to her before the first date. And he doesn't pour the contents of his wallet at her feet and hope that she'll love him. But why not? Isn't that exactly what a woman wants? Isn't that a woman's dream? Well, no, it's not. And it's not just because women are contrary and hypocritical. And here's why. A woman doesn't want to mate with a man who gives his assets and attention away at the drop of a hat. That's not a good sign for the future, when someone else might convince him to part with his resources, which would then be her resources. A woman wants to know you're able to show a little restraint. And if you think about it, men do the same thing. Just reverse the situation. Let's say a woman decides that the best way to snag a man is to shag a man. On the first date, she's ready and eager to hop into bed. That's giving the man what he wants, right? So why doesn't he fall in love and want to commit to her? Well, as any guy can tell you, a woman like that might be fun for a night or two, or three, but she's probably not the kind of girl you want to bring home to mama. If she's giving it away for free, then you figure she's giving it away to others for free. You like sex, but you don't want indiscriminate sex. Not if you're looking for a quality mate. Now, I know many Filipinos are guilty of this exact mistake, and they tend to give up the physical part too fast in order to form a quick bond and a relationship. And I'd give women the same advice. Keep your legs closed if you're seriously looking for a good man. Guys want a lady in the streets and a freak in the sheets. So a woman needs to show you the lady before showing you the sheets. Well, the same thing is true on the other side. We want a man who doesn't offer his resources and commitment the way you'd offer someone a breath mint. We want to know it's hard to get. When one party provides what the other desires too quickly, it sets off alarm bells because when something's too easy to get, it must not be that valuable. And what's not valuable isn't desirable. So by instantly providing what a woman wants, you're actually harming your chances of finding what you seek. And it has the exact opposite effect from what you intended. Sure, a woman will take what you offer, just like a man might gladly accept an offer of sex, but at the cost of losing a very important thing: respect. One thing I know for sure is that if a woman doesn't respect you, nothing else matters. But unfortunately, most guys start out by leading with their wallet. And look, I get it. You want to show a woman you have what she wants, just like a woman wants to impress you by trying to look her best. Now, advising you guys not to talk about your assets is probably like telling a woman to go on a first date without makeup. But here's why you really want to be careful how you present yourself. If you start mentioning your wealth right off the bat, it's a lose-lose. If you really do have a lot, then you'll never know if she's just interested in your money, which is exactly what men complain about. You use your assets as bait, then get angry when you attract a woman who goes for the bait. It's kind of like when a woman wears a skimpy dress with a plunging neckline and no bra, and gets mad when guys are staring at her when she bends over. What did she expect? On the other hand, if you don't have a pot to pee in and you're just exaggerating your finances, that's eventually going to lead to a major disappointment. Not only about your bank account, but about the deception. Like the horrible disappointment caused by me wearing a low-cut dress and bending over. Now, guys often think they're being sneaky about the way they do it. But trust me, we ladies hear you loud and clear. When you tell us how your Camaro got a flat tire on the way to the country club halfway between your beach house and your vacation home in the mountains, we get the message. But whether or not we believe you, we're still gonna recognize it as bragging and preening, and that doesn't go over very well with most Filipinas. When a guy brags, we might keep smiling on the outside, but we cringe a little on the inside. So if a conversation turns to finance, which it probably won't unless you bring it up, just be cool about it and say something like, I do okay for myself. That creates an air of a mystery, which intrigues a woman. And if it turns out you actually have assets worth bragging about, you'll get double points for not mentioning it. You'll also avoid the problem of her expecting you to immediately start helping her, because you never indicated that you were in a position to. She's gonna have to decide if she likes you based on you, not on what you can provide. And isn't that what you want? But is the problem only about money? Given too much, too early, and too often? Unfortunately, not. And here's where I have to talk about the simp. Now, this has become one of the most overused terms on the internet. So overused that it's almost meaningless. But yes, simps definitely do exist. If you've been living under a rock and aren't familiar with the term, a simp is defined as the person who shows excessive sympathy and attention to someone who doesn't reciprocate, typically in pursuit of a relationship. It usually comes in the form of over the top compliments and unwarranted praise, and simpish behavior can have the same effect as showering a woman with money. Now, you might think that since women love attention and validation, they'd love a guy who simps, but that's just not the case. They usually get a permanent position in the friend zone from which they never escape. Just like the guys in the emails I mentioned at the start. Why? For the same reason as the man who commits too early or the guy that opens his wallet too fast. A woman sees that as a sign of weakness, not an aphrodisiac. But let me make it clear that I'm not saying that you shouldn't pay anyone a compliment. And here's why I said that the term is so misused. When a guy tells a woman that he thinks she's cute or that he likes her outfit, it doesn't necessarily mean he's a simp. Maybe he really thinks she is cute and just wants to pay her a compliment. Or maybe, heaven forbid, he likes to flirt. So freaking what? When a woman tells a guy she really likes his hair or that he has beautiful eyes, is she a simp too? Of course not. She's probably just being honest or maybe just flirting. Apparently, only a man can be a simp, and all he has to do is get a little too vocal with his praise before other guys start jumping on him. The problem with that is, when you call everyone a simp, it's like calling everyone a racist. It kind of loses its meaning, and it obscures the real simping that can ruin things if you're actually trying to build a relationship. Feel free to pay a woman all the compliments you think she deserves, but if you give her the impression she can do no wrong, she's eventually gonna put that to the test. And when you don't set any boundaries, you lose her respect. And that's when it's over. So, to wrap things up, what should you do to avoid sabotaging yourself? Well, at the beginning of the video, I said you might have to adopt a whole new mindset, and it's this. Remind yourself that you are the prize too. You have the power to mold the relationship so that things don't go off the rails. A lot of you don't like to think of it that way. You just want to be the nice guy who's happy to help, and you're tired of playing all the games. Can't you just be yourself? Well, they say that nice guys finish last, but that's not necessarily true, as long as you set a few ground rules. When she has a money problem, sympathize with her and tell her that once you're together, you can work out a solution. Now, if it's a verified emergency or if you're deep into a relationship and there's a one time need, then of course let your conscience be your guide. But coming to the rescue with dollars in hand every time she has a problem won't make her desire you for the right reasons, especially if you do it too soon or too often. Wait until you're actually together and the relationship's been vetted and you're ready to start your life together. Then you'll know the love is real and built on a solid foundation. That's when you can start to let your guard down and be the nice guy that finishes first. And I won't have to get any more emails from men who end up chasing their own tails alone. Well, that's it for this episode, and I'll be back on Tuesday with someone I haven't talked to in years. Till then, folks. If you think about it, I'm kind of like the farmer's daughter, ready to make you laugh while helping you grow your plans for the Philippines. I can also tell you how to find a good Filipina so you don't end up with a hoe. If you appreciate all my labor, please hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to my channel, and tap the notification bell so you'll know when it's time to harvest the next video. And don't forget to check out my Patreon page for extra content and exclusive videos and features.
Hey, the traveling salesman's here to see you again.
He's such a nice man. He promised to plow my field. I don't think that's where the seeds go.